boy has the right to dream. There are endless possibilities stretched out before him.
Trust in your own power.
Whatever happens from now on, you stand firm and face your destiny without fear, but with courage.
What awaits him down the path, he will then have to choose.
No one's gonna give you a map.
Alright, let's have a talk. Man to man. About parasocial relationships. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. You know, and the mindsets that involve parasocial thinking. Now, I will say, as a man, there's nothing wrong with liking somebody or having crushes on somebody. And I'm going to talk about the two types of parasocial. Well, I'm starting with the romantic because I'm talking about crushing. You know, it's just for like general consensus and everything. With general consensus, there's nothing wrong with liking a person. But you do have to be realistic on your chances with somebody and everything. Really tell yourself the truth. Give yourself the clarity before you do anything. Especially if you're down bad to meet someone who's a public figure on social media. Especially a big time one that is like famous. You do need to have a realistic mindset to this. And what I'm saying is like, I would say if the easiest thing is to log off the social media apps. Go outside, touch some grass. That'd be the easiest answer, but it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than just talking to real women. But it's like what makes people have this stuff is, not too much productivity. Going to the gym will fix that stuff. Going to the gym will fix, the lack of productivity. It'll give you discipline. If not go to the gym, train in martial arts. Train martial arts, or do practice hobbies, or even like tradesman work to get your mind off of, somebody else. Whether it's like sexually or anything, because I feel like this obsessive mindset is stuff that lingers when left alone for too long, when left to their own devices. When it's like an addiction. If you let someone who's addicted by themselves, let's say someone's an alcoholic, you leave someone in a room with alcohol that's an alcoholic by themselves, that alcohol is going to be gone. They're going to be fighting, temptation demons, but with no oversight at all from the friend group or anybody, they could fall into victim of the addiction. It's time to wake up and realize you don't know these people. You never did. And the clarity has not kicked in because you're feeling good. You're feeling your serotonin and dopamine hits are so high, are so fried, that you can't tell reality from fantasy. You get this idea that the person you like, streamer, cosplayer, OF model, whatever have you, hell, it can even be a person in real life that you met that happens to have a social media. You got this idea from your serotonin and dopamine, your fried dopamine hits, and that's why you're doing this stuff. That's why you're going around here, going crazy. And this is why most of them turn into stalkers, because they have this idea. And it's always been like that ever since the Bjork stalker, and that's like old, like that's old case, or the Jodie Foster stalker or anything like that. It's because people that don't want to wake from their endorphin state, the addictions get so bad that they lose who they are. So they become romantic stalkers. They go find any live events where these people are, and try out of their way to become romantically involved, to become a potential boyfriend or marriage, because they think that they're married or they think they're in a relationship with these people. And it's obvious that they're not in a relationship with these people, but they have this ideal in their head that they are. And like I said, half of it comes from gooning. Gooning so much, hitting the serotonin and dopamine hits so high that you forget where you at. You forget that what you have is not a reality at all. And then I'm gonna talk about the other parasocial relationship. This is what I call the oppositional defiant parasocial. This parasocial relationship involves excessive amount of trolling to a point where you interfere with somebody's life. And no, and I get that there are some people that are assholes that deserve to have criticism, that deserve to have, to lose a paycheck for saying the wrong stuff. But you're not being a person who's serving any kind of justice or doing any good for people if you are going out here interfering being outside interference. In fact, it makes you just as bad as the person you're trying to go after. Like the trolls that Chris Chan gets, or someone like Low Tier God or Darkside Phil, even though those guys did something wrong, I'm gonna be honest, it does not make you look right or righteous when you go out here, stalking them all over the place, but trying to make outside interference where they can't live a functional life. In fact, it makes you just as low as they are. And I've seen the people that do this kind of stuff. They either look like, or they look less than the person that they troll, because they're losers who've got nothing else to do in life except be obsessed about what another grown-ass man or grown-ass woman does. It mostly happens to women, because there is some control they want on women, and that's why there is some disgruntled things of that, and that's why when a woman even posts anything, even if it's nothing sexual, they got this idea that they comment and control everything that she does. It's just as bad in the male space too, because, like I said, all these locales I've seen, there's always been outside interference. Even someone like Daniel Larson, and don't get me wrong, Daniel Larson is not a good person by any means. But it's like, it doesn't make you any better or have any justification, In fact, people will expose you for that kind of stuff. Like the woman who exposed Chris Chan, the one that it was Elizabeth Janke or something Janke, Alyssa Janke, I don't know what her name is, but you get the point. It happened to be worse. Like, she's been, oppositional, defiantly stalking people for a long time, to a point where, let's be honest, tragic things happen. You can look that up. But it's just like, these people get this hero syndrome where they feel like if they just stop everything someone else is doing, then it makes them much better than they are. So they feel validated in the life choices that they make, which realistically they just do exactly really the same thing as the target, or probably even worse, or maybe it's to cover up some controversy or something that the target has done. So they need someone to point the finger and pay attention to somebody else, for a change instead of them, because they're obsessed with how people look at them. They're obsessed with what people think, and that's exactly why they would do this. Now, I will say, anybody who says some foul stuff online, they should get in some consequences, and they should have, their internet paychecks ripped from them if they're going out here talking crazy. It's just how it is. It's no different if you work a regular job, if you work a regular 9 to 5. Like, if you work at McDonald's, Hy-Vee, Burger King, Panera, Best Buy job, you can't go in the store cursing because there might be kids walking in the store. You can't just be doing that, right? Well, it would make sense that you can't, it makes sense that you can't just, represent a company that sponsors your content and say some pretty, racist, sexist, and misogynistic stuff. So understand that part. But it does not make you right to go out of your way to interfere with extra parts that are alive. And matter of fact, it makes you arguably worse. It makes your so-called justification causes far worse than it should be. And it makes you, it's really an obsession. Like, you're so obsessed with what people think about you that you have to go out of your way to prove that someone's doing worse than you. Put them down, make fun of them, and and I know this is the internet, so you could go ahead and say some mean stuff. That's not the problem I'm having here. The problem I'm having is when you're calling up people's workplaces, when you're doxing their address, their email address. Now, it depends if they did anything worse that caused any problems or caused people to, get hurt. That's a different situation. But if someone just says some crazy stuff on the internet, it does not make you completely righteous to go out of your way to fuck with them to a point, like, let's say, like, Pokimane, for example. I do agree that Pokimane says some pretty crazy stuff. I'm not gonna lie. He says some pretty off the wall stuff. But going out here to interfere with her life and cause her extra problems outside of the internet makes you look far worse. It makes you look like a disgusting cretin. It's the same people who go around here swatting people. It's like when you swat people because you're obsessed with taking out a creator, what you're doing is make it so the police stop taking what they're trying to do seriously and shift it to another person, so someone could be getting hurt. The domestic abuse thing could get far worse, but to a point where it's a life or death situation, and the police don't respond to that. They respond to a stupid call, and they have to respond to even stupid calls with threats in it. So when you go around here, swatting people for your parasocial mindset, then you're causing way more damage and problems than the person that you want to call out. Matter of fact, you're far worse than the person you're trying to call out, because you made the police ignore something that is really serious to come out here for something that probably wasn't even really a thing. But that's what I mean by outside interference with oppositional defiant trolls. It's just like the romance ones. But the romance ones, once the court or have sexual intimate energy around a relationship they generated with that person. As an oppositional, defiant parasocial just wants to go out of their way to interrupt someone's life, even against, even if it's illegal or wrong to do so. They do it they do it to take it up a sword so they can make themselves look very good, But it's just the same. I'm just saying right there, it's the parasocial. It's still a parasocial because you spend your time, your endorphins, your serotonin to mess with someone's life, whether it's in a romantic way or whether it's to pick up the sword and be a holy knight for a crusade that really does not truly involve you at all, or even just you disagree with someone politically, so you go out of their way to interfere in their life, which just again makes you look really bad. It does not. It's not a good look. It makes you look worse than anything else to do that. But the point I'm trying to say, it's time to wake up. It's time to get out of the dream. It's time to go to the gym. Wake up. Go to the gym. Wake up early in the morning. Go to the gym, or go to a martial arts class. Do something with your life outside of social media, outside of the people you obsessively talk about 24/7, whether it's love or hate. It's time to wake up and realize what you're doing isn't going to serve you at all. And I think it's probably because most people are unemployed, which is unemployed behavior, obviously, because if you were working, you'd be too tired to go post 100 different things about someone, or post 100 different comments or anything like that, or go out of their way to affect their real life. If you were busy working, you'd be too tired to do this stuff, and that's what I need to get to right there. That you got a lot of time on your hands. I think it's time to check the time, wake up, get out of this fake reality you generated for yourself. And if you have to go to therapy, go to therapy. Maybe a therapist can help you get out of that mindset that you have, because it's that mindset that you have is the real reason why you do the things you do, and because this stuff's not going to serve you at all. You need to wake up, get over yourselves, go touch the grass, Go talk to real people. I wouldn't say go talk to girls. Just go talk to. I don't even want to say go talk to girls until your mindset's better, because I don't want you to bring a parasocial relationship to a real one. So get your head together and wake the fuck up. Wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to get back to work.